So like and subscribe if you want to. The Celtics maxed Jayson Tatum, $195 million for 5 seasons. He still has 1 year left on his rookie deal, so you could look at it as the Celtics have 5 years to convince Jayson Tatum to stay. Maybe 4 with the way the NBA is nowadays. That's a little bit of a joke. I don't think they are in danger of Tatum leaving, but I think that should be said nowadays with the NBA, you know? So anyway, is Tatum worth this money? I mean, again, as I said with the De'Aaron Fox thing, the Celtics pretty much had no choice. I think they were also happy to do this. I don't think there was much doubt in their mind that Tatum was worth this money. I mean, if you're going to be paid this much, which is $39 million technically annually, it's not, of course, going to actually be like that, but it's basically how it is. That puts Tatum at, I believe, potentially in the top 10 highest paid guys in the league when the extension kicks in 2022. I mean, Klay makes 37.9 right now, and he's number 10 for 2022, so we'll see with that one. And then you just think, how good can Jayson Tatum be? This is something I've talked about, many people have talked about. Tatum has made it kind of interesting, where sometimes he doesn't look awesome, sometimes he looks amazing, and recently he has mainly just looked amazing. I mean, even in the Miami series, with which his percentages were not the best they possibly could be, his stat line was very good. Against Miami, Tatum averaged 27 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, doing everything he does on defense. And his true shooting percentage was 55%, which is actually a little higher than I thought it was going to be. You think about, what does Tatum need to get better at to really go to the next level? I do think he still needs to make strides with his ball handling. It's definitely gotten better. He's good enough to beat guys off the dribble, but I think there's just an extra level that Tatum can get to, because occasionally his dribble can look a little sloppy against a good defensive team, and I think at times we saw that against Miami, at times we saw it against Toronto, even if Tatum was still good against the Raptors as well. And I feel like that's kind of it. I mean, in terms of Tatum's shot selection, which was the real problem earlier in his career, he's going in the right direction. I mean, he's up to 7 threes a game. He finally realized at some point in the Miami series that if he just gets ahead of steam going to the basket, there's not much that guys can really do against him, and he was starting to draw a lot of contact. In the 6 games against Miami, Tatum shot 44 free throws, which is about 7.5 a game. And I think that's the formula for him, you know? Taking those step-back threes, taking the pull-up threes in transition. He's not going to get too many catch-and-shoots and spot-ups and all that, but he'll get more than 0, of course, between Kemba and Jalen and the Stevens offense with a lot of movement and stuff. Granted, they have scaled that back a little bit to give some more simple plays to Tatum and Kemba. But yeah, he takes his threes, he shoots his hopefully 7-8 free throws a game. He's still going to go to the mid-range sometimes. That's always going to be part of his DNA as a basketball player, but as long as he can trade out a few of them for more attempts at the rim and from 3, then I think Tatum is going to be good. And in terms of defense, I mean, he was probably an outside candidate for an all-defense team at forward this year. It's going to be tough. I mean, you're competing with Giannis, AD, Kawhi, Jimmy, Paul George. If Bam is considered a forward, then him. We'll see if Draymond bounces back. When Jonathan Isaac is eventually healthy, he'll be back in that thing. And there's other guys that I'm sure I'm forgetting, and apologies to them. Now, if Tatum is considered for the guard positions for all defense, that makes it a little easier, but even then it's still pretty tough. I mean, Ben Simmons, Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, Patrick Beverley, Marcus Smart. So I don't know how many all-defense teams Tatum is really going to make, but he's clearly a very good defensive player. And his playmaking showed real improvement in the playoffs. I think his ball handling continuing to improve will be the real key there. But he was making some real passes in the bubble. Some of them were like things you couldn't even see on TV immediately, but Tatum already saw it coming. And that's some pretty good stuff for your 3rd season. I guess technically you could say it was his 4th season pretty much because of how long of a break it was. So you just put all that together, right? Guy who's going to make threes, shoot a lot of free throws, beat defenders off the dribble, be maybe an all-defense candidate year to year, and improve on his playmaking? Is that not the potential for a top 10 player? Granted, the difference between number 10 and 11, 12, 13 isn't some massive difference. We are, for some reason, just fixated on 5s, 10s, 15s, 20s, I don't know. But Tatum can certainly be in that group. But you just think about guys that he has to surpass in order to hit whatever hierarchy you want to put him in. I mean, let's just look at other max contract guys for 2022. Is Tatum better than Middleton? I think he is. Tobias, yes. Kawhi, no. Kemba, yes. Jimmy, after Jimmy's finals performance, I think you have to say no, but it's obvious we don't see that Jimmy Butler every day, so I think Tatum could surpass Jimmy. I would like to acknowledge that in the heat of the moment, I said Jimmy Butler was definitely a top 10 player after his game 5, I believe it was. So take that for whatever you will. Is Tatum better than Paul George? He certainly had a better playoffs than Paul George did. He probably had a better regular season as well. So, yeah, you know what? I'll say it. Tatum's better than Paul George already. And can he be better than Dame, Jokic, and Embiid? I think it's possible. He's still going to have to get better, but he hasn't hit a wall yet, so I'll just say it's in the cards. If we can remember Tatum's February, he averaged 31 points, and he shot 48% on 9 threes a game. With, I think, the peak of all that being the Lakers game where they double-teamed him every single time he got the ball. So, yeah, that's his ceiling. As far as some of the contract things that are affected by this, I think the Celtics are pretty locked up with this roster until Marcus Smart's extension is up after 2022. And we'll have to see what type of money it takes to hold on to him. I mean, if we look at some comparable players and contracts, the Pistons are paying Jeremy Grant $20 million a year for 3 years. Marcus Morris got $64 for 4. Joe Harris is getting $19 million for, I actually don't know how many years, as in $19 million annually, I should say. So I think Marcus Smart will probably fall into that area of contracts, and we'll just have to see if the Celtics want to hold on to him. The next decision after that is Kemba's extension. We'll have to see if Kemba accepts his player option in 2023. You would expect him to, but we also said that about Hayward, so we'll have to see. And then not long after that, it will actually be Jaylen Brown's time for an extension, and depending on how things go, that will hopefully be all right, and Jaylen will want to stay. As for other little things the Celtics did, Tristan Thompson, Jeff Teague, they seem okay enough veteran pieces to a good team. A little scared that Jeff Teague is terrible on defense at this point. We'll have to see. So yeah, man, Tatum got the max. Anyway, like and subscribe if you want to, and that's it.